And I want to share you a real case study in which an organization has been very successful in using this model. Here is an organization, an IT project team organization, where they facing a client situation, client demand, which a changing demand requires them to work together as a team. So it's a new project team came on board. It's an IT project team, and I was asked to come in and develop and to train the team. So the CEO asked me the responsibility: can you come in and support this team and help them to be able to steer? Because this is a large project, the government project, public project, where they cannot fail, and they want to ensure the team works well. So you have different people coming from different departments in the organization work on this task force or team. So first I asked them, look, establish the team strategy. So this IT, the head, the function, the project leader actually is the head of IT. So he come in, okay, he get the different team member around and establish team charter. Why are we doing this? What is the ultimate goal? We need to solve a particular problem with the client. We need to ensure we implement the project effectively. So that's number one. So they have a team charter. They very clearly define what it takes to develop this strategy is to define the team values. What will it take for us to work together? They come out with a team charter. How did you work? Where? How are you going to work? How are you going to communicate? Next, they move on to the next. The project leader clearly define what are the role and responsibility, because they have the daytime job. They have their normal role. They are seconded to this particular project. So in their daytime role, they have the boss, their day-to-day boss. But here is where they're given this task, so they need to make it work. So the CEO personally is responsible as a sponsor. So there's a clarity of role and responsibility. Every team member know what they bring to the table. They know what is their contribution to the project. So there's clarity. And in this case, this was a challenge because their day-to-day role, they have their own bosses, because it's the metrics, responsibility. Sometimes they get carried away, be pulled away from project. So there's some conflict. So there must be some clarity and alignment with their day bosses, day-to-day bosses and so forth. And this is where the CEO, the sponsor, comes in and help us to solve out the issue. Next is open communication trust. So what the team leader did is to get a one-day offsite. They get the team together. They got me to facilitate, understand each other's style of communication. Interestingly, we have this session where people discuss about what we call the personal history exercise. In other words, they talk about, hey, this is who I am. I've been through this challenge. They openly talk about their failure. Now it's very interesting because it's about vulnerability. How are you prepared to be vulnerable and openly tell somebody who are new to your team that you have failed before? Now, it was a real challenge, but the project leader himself started off by saying, look, I failed. In those instances, what I've learned. By sharing his failure, sharing the lesson learned, it creates a climate. It's a humble experience for him. But the others see it, wow, if my boss, project leader, can share this challenge. And of course, we invite the CEO as a sponsor for the project team. He also shared his challenges, his failure. It was a very humbling experience, and everybody learned from it. That's an open communication exercise where we call it a personal history exercise. Then we move on to the second last R, rapid response. So we talk about how to solve problems. So when there's a problem, these are the issue. How do we resolve by coming up with options? What are some of the alternatives that we can put in place? So what the project team did is use a tool called force field analysis. The force field analysis, or FFA, developed by Kurt Lewin, is a very powerful tool in helping you to evaluate the different options and looking at the driving and restraining forces, and each of the options allow you to critically look at some of the challenges if you decide to adopt one over the other. So that's some of the tools that we talk about. And then lastly, the effective leadership. This is interesting because here everybody is looking at the team leader, the project leader. This is about humility. Now, what I'm very impressed when I was facilitating the session, I was asking the project leader, so what is it that you feel? He said, look, a team, and he used the acronym TEM, together everybody achieve more. He says that it's not all about me, it's about all of you, and the success of the team is you. And I merely, he adopted what we call the servant leadership. He was saying that his role, and I was very enlightening to listen to him. I was facilitating the session. I was listening, and I was listening to him coming up in front saying that my role is to support all of you and work together with you to provide the necessary support to help us to be able to solve the customer problem. So at the end of the day, what I listened to him, I'm very impressed because he clearly articulated what we call the RBL framework, putting employee first. What he's saying is that, let me focus on you, my team member. How can I help you? What can I do to support you so that you can deliver great customer experience for our external customer, which is the purpose of the project. And by doing that, and I was tracking and looking at how he interacted, how he behaved, it was phenomenal. It was a very high-performing team, and 6 months later, after that engagement, I meet up the team as a follow-up, for half a day follow-up. The CEO was there, was sharing with me the progress made. It was phenomenal. Phenomenal. The project was still ongoing. The customer has new project, and because of the ability to deliver, to resolve the challenge that they have formed the task force in the first place, create an opportunity for the organization to uncover new opportunity, and the client, which is a government agency, decided to engage them for new projects. So that relate to results. So the RBL, results-based framework, with the SCORE, SCORE together, both framework from CE, we have helped the organization to be successful. And today they have been continuously re-examining every single project team. Every single team today use the model and ask themselves, are we ready? Are we truly a high-performing team leveraging on the SCORE framework? So to conclude, my advice to you to ask yourself, what are you doing differently? Is your team ready to meet those challenges? Use the SCORE framework. Have a cohesive strategy. Have a clear role and responsibility. Have an open communication and trust. Develop rapid response and problem solving. And lastly, effective leadership in yourself as a team leader. Look at this and read up more in our article. This called Building High Performing Team Using SCORE Framework, was published in the Talent Management Excellence magazine. You can find it in 2014, a copy in the resource in this program. You can get a copy, read up, dialogue with me, let me know how it goes, how does it work for you, and remember to start doing your action plan. Get your SMART action plan ready. Ask yourself one point, one action that you want to put in place. Look at the SCORE, what does it mean for you, and how can you help your team to be successful. With that note, I wish you all the best, good luck, and let's move towards developing a high-performing team. Thank you.